All right, Mike. Well, that wraps up week 4 of the college football season. Tennessee took care of business like we thought they would, like they definitely should have. They beat UAB 56-24. I think the Vols looked good, looked as expected. You don't really want to have a bad game against a team like that because it can do other things.
I know what you mean. You get a close game against a team that you shouldn't have, especially after coming off of a loss like they get against Georgia, and then you're looking at the potential of kind of setting the tone for your season. And then you follow up with a bad loss or something again. If you had that close game against UAB, that could set up for failure as you have your next few opponents in the SEC. But no, they definitely looked good. I mean, it was 56-24. And the second string, I don't think they looked great. They didn't really look that great, but the 24 points, I mean, a lot of that kind of came in the garbage time of the game. I will say something that I really like is how Tennessee's been coming out and just firing on all cylinders, man, on offense right off the rip. And because in the past we haven't done that, even against teams that we should be doing that. Just coming out quick and dude, in that first half, especially first quarter and stuff, UAB just didn't look like the same caliber, man, of team. Like Tennessee's offense was just doing what they wanted. And truly, I think this is one of those games. Yeah, it was 56-24. Um, First string wanted to play the whole game, and they could have pretty much picked their score. As far as that goes. Um, I know Joey did have an interception this game. It was thrown a little bit behind Brazel, I will say that on it. But man, at the same time, when a deflection like that happens, and I mean, that's just unfortunate, when it pops up that high, and it's not really what I wouldn't really call it like a bad interception, or something where you
Yeah.
just blatantly threw right to the defender or anything. That just popped up like a fly ball there, and everybody was just waiting for it to come down. Um, so that I'm not really too worried about the intersection on that part. As far as like, I mean, do you have any concerns? I know they did what they were supposed to do. Feel pretty good about it. We're 3-1 at this point in the season. Any concerns going, as we get ready to move into some more SEC play and everything? We don't have a lot of these games left. Anything that's concerning to you, kind of, or good things too? Anything
Yeah.
that you took
Yeah.
off of that you would say will be good for the rest of the season?
So touching on the interception, it was slightly thrown behind Brazel. I will say that, but it did hit him right in the hands, and
Yeah,
I don't care. It's catchable. It should have been
yeah,
caught. It looked
right.
like it might have. It looked like it might have came in a little bit hotter than Brazel would have that he initially expected it to come in. It looked like
Yeah,
Joey put a little bit of zip on that ball. Otherwise, I don't think it would have bounced and went as high as it did. Should have
right.
been caught. So I don't fault Joey for that interception at all. But moving away from that, I do have positive things in mind. I want to start with the negatives and kind of get that out of the way.
Hmm.
Yes, we did win 56-24. Yes, most of those points were scored on Tennessee's second team defense, third team defense. I do understand that. And I'm basically looking at this from a perspective of, hey, if Tennessee played the way they played against a big time opponent, like an SEC opponent or something, what would have happened? So
Right.
I think that you still see holes in our defense. I do think that we're not the caliber of defense that we had last year. I mean, I think that's pretty apparent, but um, I think that obviously the injuries and stuff like that play a big part into our performance thus far on defense. But I do think that dating back to the Syracuse game, I mean, that's a game that I feel like we should have won more than we should have beat them worse than we did.
Yeah.
I think that we could have probably hung more points on UAB if we really wanted to. I don't have any concerns, honestly, with our offense, but I think our defense is our weak point, to be honest with you. And hopefully, as the year goes on, and
Get
we
people
get some of
back too.
get some of those people back. And and we've said it on this podcast, and Josh Heupel says it all the time. Good teams get better as the season goes on. Good teams get better week by week. So I mean, we're probably just going to progress and get better as the season goes on. Sometimes I do get the vibe, and it didn't look like that against ETSU, but that's ETSU. But Tennessee does have a tendency sometimes to play down to their competition, not all the way down, but it's
Yeah.
easier to get hopped up when Georgia comes to town or Bama comes to town or,
Yeah,
whoever else comes to town. It's easier to get hopped up for those type of games, especially defensively. You're wanting to go against the best and you're wanting to
for sure.
showcase your talent against the best. So I can understand why our defense looks shaky at times. I'm not going to sit here and thrash our defense. I mean, yes, we're stopping teams. We're stopping teams in crucial downs and getting the ball back to the offense. But I do have some concerns, and I don't think it's any surprise. I mean, I think it's apparent when you kind of
Yeah,
watch Tennessee play. I'm not saying our defense is trash, but I think you got a little spoiled last year with how good the defense was.
yeah, yeah,
I
for
mean, we
sure.
we we practically made the playoffs off defense last year. So, but switching gears real quick to some of my positive takeaways. Obviously, you mentioned it. Joey Aguilar looks good. He's playing lots out, man. Like you said, the way he came out firing all cylinders, getting the ball down the field. Something that really stuck out to me was our running backs. Here they are again, and I've got some stats on those guys. We got Peyton Lewis, Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, but I looked at all the running backs' yards per carry. I added them up and did an average of all of those running backs. Tennessee running backs in that game averaged 6.3 yards a carry. So,
That's
I
gonna
mean,
score some points right there.
yeah, I mean, we're moving the ball in the running game. Star Thomas, I texted you during the game and said this guy is unreal. Even though he didn't have the biggest game was Peyton Lewis. He had 11 carries for 81 yards. But Star Thomas, man, 9 carries for 51 yards. That's
Yeah,
nuts. Shout out
when
to
he
our
gets the
running
ball in his
backs.
hand, he's just dangerous, man. Which several of them are.
Yep,
So
yep, for sure. The deep plays are opening up. I think Tennessee fans got used to that a few years back and kind of went absent for a couple years,
yeah,
but it looks like Joey's kind of bringing that back with some of these wide receivers. Yeah, the wide receivers, man, are stepping up big time for us as well. Just an overall, like I said at the beginning of this, just an overall good win.
yeah,
I think Tennessee did what they're supposed to do, and looking forward to the next
yeah.
one, honestly, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. Something, and I don't want to criticize Joey, because he threw a beautiful deep pass there for a touchdown. There's been a couple of them that were still underthrown a little bit. Sometimes on his deep ball, I think he's underthrown them a couple times. Sometimes it works out. You got, Brazel's come up with some that seem to be underthrown in that Georgia game, but sometimes the underthrown ball it works out too. The defender gets kind of lost with it, and receiver, if you trust your receiver to come down with it and come back to it. Um, but I think sometimes he does do that. But to counteract that a little bit and kind of brag on Joey, man, I did do some stats or looked up some stats just here for 4 games in. And I think if you'd have told any Tennessee fan before the season started, with all the questions about Joey Aguilar, that this is what he would have 4 games in, he has 1,124 yards. He has 12 touchdowns and he has only 3 interceptions, and one being that deflection, this past week. And I think if you'd have told any Tennessee fan that 4 games in, that's where you'd be setting out 3-1 with him having a phenomenal game against Georgia and barely losing that. We'd be pretty happy with the questions we had going into that. Also, just I was looking up Tennessee's schedule and just the points for 4 games so far. It's just our lowest scoring game was Georgia with 41 points. Um, and I mean, it's just unreal. Scored, 40 something, 56, 70, I can't remember exactly what it was on that one, but it was in the 70, over 70. So the amount of points they put up's been honestly unreal. And when we have like that balance of the passing game and the running game, Tennessee's very dangerous. And that's because, during the time with Hendon Hooker and stuff, as electric as the passing game was, that running game, and they ran the ball more than they passed, and it was well balanced, more
Yeah,
than one running back. And I've been very impressed with how that's been going on this year. So definitely makes me optimistic, kind of moving forward. We just got through week 4, man. I mean, it just flies by when you
it
start going and
does.
getting into it. So I just want to take a point there and kind of look at where we're at through the season. Um,
Yeah. I will piggyback off what you said. Looking at what we've done offensively, that's why I said what I said. I have no issues or worries or anything about us offensively.
yeah.
When you watch Tennessee play, there's a lot of movement going on. I mean, and that
Mhm.
type of movement, and when I say movement, I mean I'm talking those routes that our guys are running and
Yeah.
everything like that. I mean, you just didn't see that out of Tennessee's offense the past couple of
No.
years. And we know it is no surprise. We've talked about it. You know, it's more apparent now than it has ever been the past couple of years that that playbook was dumbed down to the bare bones minimum the past 2 years.
Yeah, man.
And you're seeing Joey Aguilar and these wide receivers running. I don't know that it's at its full potential. I don't know what else Heupel has tucked away or what he hasn't shown yet or
Yeah.
whatever. But I mean, you're seeing routes that when you see the ball go out of Joey's hand and it gets to the receiver, I mean, there is so much open space around whoever it is that catches the ball. He's the scheme that's being dialed up, and it was really apparent, the past couple games, even against Georgia. But it's crazy to see how it's how it plays out when you watch it, man. I just love it. It's how it's
Yeah.
supposed to look, and we haven't
Yeah.
got that the past couple of years.
No, man, it's for sure nice to see that kind of back. But yeah, I mean, optimistic for sure. Moving on here a little bit to what we had as the game of the week. We had the Oklahoma ended up beating Auburn, and man, it was a defensive game through a lot of it.
Yeah,
Also a game with some controversy. I mean, I know of a couple different times there that, and I'm sure Auburn fans are kind of bitter on this because you got the one that was the touchdown return. It would have been a fumble return. I think it was like a 60-some-yard return for a touchdown.
yeah,
And they ended up calling that back, not a fumble there. And then into the game, Oklahoma, scored the touchdown play to take the lead. Their receiver, I guess, was walking off the field, like looked like he was subbing out. You're not allowed to do that. But then some people are saying, well, he was just walking over the line up. I don't know. It looked a lot like he was. I could see how it would definitely appear like he was walking to sub out of that
yeah,
game, so some people were saying that shouldn't have counted. So it's pretty big plays. Those two big
yeah,
controversial plays there.
yeah. Talking about that play specifically that you're talking about, I don't get how people could say that shouldn't have counted. I mean,
Yeah.
it's more or less like a deception type trick play.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch it, Auburn was not lined up and was not ready at all. And yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you're right. The guy did kind of give the appearance or give the
Right.
thought of, okay, yeah, we ain't got to worry about him. He's walking
Yeah.
out. He's
Well,
subbing out.
I don't want to
And
cut you off, but I think there's like a rule now though about if the team is if you like creating that look of that you're gonna sub or something, and it's like an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Um,
really,
yeah, that's why because like I get what you're saying because I was thinking the same thing, but apparently it's unsportsmanlike conduct if it's determined that that player is doing is that a team is intentionally tricking a team into thinking that they're subbing out. Um, so I didn't know that. Had no idea. So
I
I
didn't know
think
that either.
that's what adds to that controversy that they're saying it should have been a 15-yard penalty um, for unsportsmanlike conduct and that it shouldn't have counted.
Huh. Right. Yeah, I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, and I would have had no idea. I just kind of ended up looking into it a little bit when I seen that. I would have thought the same thing. Well, the defense should have been ready, or if you see a player and then they kind of hang to the sideline. But I don't know. That must be a newer top rule. Yeah, apparently. Correct me if I'm wrong if anybody's watching, but that's from what I looked at. That's what the whole argument on that is.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I mean that would make if that's the case, that does make sense because it was apparent that he was trying to make the defense
yeah,
think that he was going out of the game.
right. And so I think
But
that's where the whole
but
controversy comes from.
I didn't know if people were trying to make the case that he wasn't set or he was offsides or he was
Yeah.
in the backfield, too many men in the backfield,
Oh yeah.
whatever. I didn't know if someone was trying to make that argument. Um,
Right.
but yeah, the game itself, man, tough fought game. Like you said, it was a really good defensive game. I think the biggest thing to take away from this game for me personally, since we do play Oklahoma in the future, is just that
Yeah.
defense. Their defense, and I don't really know too much about Auburn's like offensive line and all that stuff,
Mm,
but the only thing I do know that's a 100% fact is Oklahoma ate that offensive line alive. I
yeah,
think
man.
they broke a program record for most sacks in a game. I don't know how many sacks they had. I want to say it was like 10 or 11 sacks. When you're
Yeah.
getting to the quarterback that many times, really, to me, it doesn't really matter what team you're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, because if it was so easy to get that many sacks a game, then you would see these teams getting sacks like that all the time against some of
Oh yeah.
these lower level schools. So that does raise concern for Tennessee in the future against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But you know,
Especially in a passing situation.
yes, yes. And leading up to this game, really the two things that you hear about Oklahoma is John Mateer, the quarterback, and the defense. And, I didn't really know too much about the defense. I hadn't really watched Oklahoma too much this year, to be honest with you, but I did watch this game through and through, and that defense is real. I can contest to that. That defense does look really good. Um, and John Mateer looks good too, but that
Yeah.
defense sticks out to me more so than the quarterback play, especially in this game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This being a defensive battle like it was too, man. I think I agree with you there. And like I said, when it was in a passing situation deep in their territory at the end of the game there, the defense was just all over him, man. He couldn't even, in my head I was like, "Oh, you got to get rid of the ball," but I don't think he had time, man. Man, they just really took over there at the end, and I mean, tough loss for Auburn, but I don't know how they scored 17 points, getting
Yeah,
getting
I'll be
sacked that
honest
many
with you, I don't,
times,
I don't
man.
either. And I will
Yeah.
say this, I guess by me saying that Oklahoma's defense got so many sacks that one would automatically assume that I'm just trashing Auburn's offensive line. That's not the case at all. Yes, it's
Yeah.
obvious that they struggled, but if you go back and watch, I mean, I'm not going to go back and watch the game, but
Yeah.
if you were watching the game and kind of pay attention to Jackson Arnold back there in the backfield, he didn't really look confident. He didn't really look like, it almost looked like it was too much for him or something because he was holding on to the ball
Oh
way
yeah.
too long. So you can attribute some of those sacks to maybe his indecisiveness or maybe, I don't know. I haven't watched the
Yeah.
game film, but there might not have been anyone open downfield. I don't know, but you got to make a decision in the pocket much
Mhm.
quicker than that, whether you take off running or you're getting the ball
Right.
somewhere because Oklahoma ate you alive. And I think
Yeah.
some of the sacks are the quarterback's fault for standing in the pocket way too long.
I mean, like the end, you can't take the safety there, man. You gotta.
No,
Uh,
no.
I don't care if you just throw the ball in the air,
Yeah.
middle of the field, in the
Just
air,
do
like
something.
sling it up there, let somebody try to come down with it. Because at that point, you lose. I mean, and that you got to punt the ball right back to them. It's not even like you can do an onside kick. I mean, it was the safety. You got to punt it right back to them. So Um, yeah, I agree, man. But for a game that we said would be game of the week, ended up 24-17. May
Sure.
not have been the most exciting for some, but if you like some good defense,
Yeah.
I mean, man, a close game came down towards the end. So I think it was definitely a great game there. And
Just something to kind of call back to what you're saying. We did say that this was the fourth and whatever podcast's game of the week. I think it lived up to that hype. And, as much as we just talked about Oklahoma's defense being pretty much dominant in this game, if you look at the stats, they're eerily similar for both teams. I mean, you're talking about Oklahoma was 3 for 12 on third down. Auburn was 3 for 15 on third down. Just a few yards separated their total yards. Yards per play for both teams, Oklahoma 4.9, Auburn 4.2. First downs are very close. It just goes to show you how tight of a game it truly was. I mean, both teams played pretty even. The last thing I'll say is, other than that, Oklahoma's defense just was the edge in this game. So, and probably the home field advantage too.
oh yeah, yeah, I'd agree with that. Um, the game I kind of want to talk about some. It's not as close, not quite as close of a game. Florida went down to Miami and they got beat 26-7.
Yeah,
Dude, Florida's offense is bad.
it's bad, man.
They're
It's bad.
bad. Yeah.
It's bad. And
Kansas.
last week we mentioned how DJ Lagway might be a bust and all this stuff. I mean, like you said, man, their offense is just it's limping.
Yeah.
I mean, that was week 4. We're only 4 weeks in, and they haven't
Yeah.
progressed.
They're getting worse.
They haven't gotten any
Yeah.
better. Man,
And the
tough.
defense, man, was trying. I mean, defense, defense is good, but again, what happens, man, eventually your defense is not going to be able to hold. I wanted to bring this up because really, there was a point in this game where it could have went 20-0. You You know, it got a little closer there at the end when Florida got that momentum at one point, and their defense was really stepping up and kept that game a little closer. Because when Miami scored to make that 26, that was late, and that was when
Yep.
on a turnover on downs, and so deep in Florida territory. So it definitely was a little bit closer than that 26-7, but at one point, Miami could have went up 20-0. Man, that was a bad call, calling the running back down for Miami.
Yeah.
I don't even think a Florida player really even touched him. He
He
ran
didn't.
into the wall there behind his offensive line, but he never truly like stopped for
No.
long at all. And they called that down, and that was way too early to blow a whistle. He was gone, man. That would have made it 20-0 right there. And I think if that stood, that chance to get a little bit of momentum didn't happen. Doesn't happen. I mean, it's a lot of what ifs, but I definitely think that was a moment that allowed it to be a little bit closer for Florida because I mean at that point their offense wasn't doing anything, and um, it was definitely a bad call during the game. I get for us watching the game, it allowed for the game to eventually be a little bit closer and made it a little more exciting. But I just wanted to point out that that was a bad call. I would not a call I agree with at all
Yep.
on that one.
And
So
and when I was watching the game during the broadcast in that very moment you're talking about, even the announcers said something about it. If you were paying attention, the whistle actually came in kind of late. The whistle didn't actually get blown dead until the
yeah,
running back had made it out of that little pile and was actually already running out past all of
yeah,
that. So yeah, terrible call for the refs. But how about those? How about those running backs for Miami, man? I mean, they thrashed Florida for 184 yards on the
yeah,
ground. Tough running backs, man.
yeah.
Tough running backs.
Yeah, man. I think Miami's a tough team, man.
They are.
A lot of people say that maybe if they're, Florida's not ranked, but still, like I said, Florida's defense is tough, and to run on them like that, I mean, it really says something, man. I think Miami's a tough team, and I mean, they're ranked second now in the nation, so
Yep. Yeah.
um, they're up there. It was interesting though. I mean, like I said, it got interesting at the end. Um, Florida's offense again, just a knock on their offense, man. It was not good enough to make the comeback and to give them a chance.
Man,
And
it
so
wasn't good. It wasn't good enough
uh,
to compete, let alone try to come back. Mean,
uh,
I mean,
yeah, I don't.
they had 13 third down conversions converted on zero of them.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you can't
really
win ball games like that.
and with the gauntlet of schedule they got, man. I'm not even saying this is hate. It's just it's a gauntlet,
Yep.
and they're 1-3. I don't know that Florida's making a bowl game this year.
Yep. Yep. It's
Um,
gonna be tough.
unless they turn it around. But try to do something like they did last year, pull it out and try to get out of that hole. So many tough teams, man, um, that they still have left. I mean, you still got Georgia, Texas, Tennessee. I mean, it's like, they just have a lot of tough teams left and on that
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah. If you look at what they did in that game, man, it's I hate to use this word because it sounds terrible, but it's pitiful.
Yeah,
2.7 yards of play on offense. Total offense for the entire game was like what was it? 141 yards total.
yeah, it's discouraging, man, if you're a Florida fan. I
It
love
is.
it. But
Yeah.
I'm a Tennessee fan, so that's pretty nice to see when Florida sucks. But it's tough to watch. I'm sure if you're a
Yep.
Florida fan, man, it's got to be
It
discouraging.
is. It is just knowing how good their defense is. I mean, because like you said this when we first started talking about this game. Florida was punting the ball like every 3 plays, every 3 to 5 plays. It
Yeah,
seemed like there in the first 3 quarters, and your defense cannot be expected to go out there and win you a ball game like that when they're constantly on the field and
yeah,
I mean, they're going to get gassed out, and that's exactly what happened in this game, man. I mean, I mean, as good as their defense is, you can't expect them to win the game by themselves. You know what I mean?
yeah. It'll wear on them, and being out there a lot on the field for sure. Um, man, speaking of letdowns too, dude, Illinois got crushed by Indiana, dude.
Yeah.
63-10. Still ranked in an AP poll too. What a joke, dude. Illinois should be out. I mean, they
Yeah,
hadn't played anybody through the
that's
season.
crazy.
The first ranked opponent you play, who was 19 ranked at the time, Indiana might be better than 19 ranked, and they have moved them up. But dude, 63-10 and still ranked after that. I mean,
ridiculous.
I whatever, I guess. I think time will tell, and Illinois probably won't stay there as the season goes, but unless they just had a one-off game, but this was a beatdown, man. I know we were talking about like upset of the week because we try to try to do that each week. I don't think this week we really had a true upset. I think we were talking about Memphis being an upset in Arkansas, and I think that's who we're going to give kind of our upset of the week to. Arkansas, I'm pretty sure was predicted to win that game. Most people felt like they probably would have, but Memphis also is 4-0 now, so I don't know.
Right.
Was it that big of an upset? But I think this can kind of be an upset too,
Yeah.
because of how bad you got beat. It wasn't the fact that Indiana beating Illinois would be an upset in general had it been a close game and it was a 19th ranked team versus a non-ranked. That could definitely not be considered an upset, I would imagine, when you truly think of the word upset. But when you get beat that bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
That.
as a non-ranked team in the nation,
Yeah.
that's upsetting.
That puts it in a different category, man. I
Yeah,
mean, because no longer two top 25 teams playing each other, tight
yeah,
game, a battle, and they lost by a field. I mean, this is an absolute thrashing. Indiana basically treated Illinois like a cupcake school. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And that's what
yeah.
they did. Yeah. I don't have anything to say about this game. I didn't watch it, but I saw the score and I was like, whoa, did not
Yeah.
expect that. You know what I mean?
I don't have to look into it, man. When it's 63 to 10, that's all I need to know. It's
Exactly. Nothing more. Nothing more.
no,
Another game that I want to mention real quick. South Carolina seems to continue their struggles.
mm,
They got beat by Missouri 29-20. Lenore Sellers, I think, from what I understand, had a decent game, but they just couldn't put the pieces together to get the W. So South Carolina's
that's a
struggles
shocker
continue.
so far in this season, ain't it, man? Just I know
It is.
you were pretty high praise on them going into the year, and I think everybody was, but
Hmm.
kind of shocking going in. Um, last thing before we can really kind of get into discussing this AP poll, man. I just want to throw it out there too. Clemson sucks. Um,
Yeah, no doubt, dude.
this guy sucks. I mean, dude, they might not make a bowl game this year. One and
Yeah,
three. Syracuse got them, man. But yeah, Clemson
I
sucks.
think after we watched Tennessee open the season against Syracuse, I kind of went away from that game saying Syracuse is a good team. I
Yeah,
think it's fair to say that their quarterback's pretty good. He looks good. But man, Dabo Sweeney's down there sweating, man. I mean,
oh yeah.
you've got people calling for his job.
You have a quarterback that was like in Heisman talks before the season started.
Yeah. Some people said that Clemson was going to win the ACC and they were going to make the playoff and make a championship run. I mean, none of
Isn't
that is going to happen. That's not
no,
happening
isn't there
anymore.
defensive like a lot of defensive players they have too that they were like expected to be drafted, supposed to have a really stout defense and I don't know something's going on down there
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
in the
Something's going on down
fake
there
Death
for
Valley.
sure. Yeah.
It's not good.
No, it's not. And if I looked at the box score of this game, and it looks like, and this was obviously I didn't watch it, but this is the turning point in the game. Obviously, Clemson didn't score a single point in the third quarter. Syracuse scored 10 points in the third quarter.
Yeah,
They were already leading at that point.
yeah,
Syracuse was, but you can't be down after halftime
no,
and
no
go into
man,
the third quarter and come out with a goose egg going into the fourth. You have to come
yeah,
out of halftime and score points if you want to win football games.
yeah, for
They did
sure.
not do that. And it looks like they had some penalties as well. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right, man. Clemson sucks, dude.
yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. So yeah, but it's something that doesn't have to do with the Clemson. The AP poll come out with top 25. We're 15. They left us. They've left us alone twice.
Yeah,
15,
that's fine
and
with
I'm
me.
okay with that. Let's prove some stuff here and moving forward. It'll settle itself if we win. Leaving us at 15, I think's fine. I understand that the opponent level who we played, and there was some other games this week where some people moving around. Um, some teams definitely moved up. Oklahoma is one of those. They moved up 4 spots. I don't know that beating Auburn in as close a game as it was, but it was a ranked team. So,
Yeah.
um, I get them moving up with some people. Florida State, something I want to point out, they moved down a spot. and they won 66-10. You know, those little opponents, I guess, is just they're not really they don't have much weight to carry. So like if you get a ranked win, that's probably what's gonna put the team over you there.
Yeah, to be
Um,
honest with you, I don't really have anything to gripe about with the AP poll other than like you said, Illinois being in there still is ridiculous.
Yeah, I just don't get that, man. I mean, I know they're 3-1, but the other three teams they played, Duke was the hardest one,
Yeah.
and it's just, I mean, they're 3-1, sitting there at 23rd with such a beatdown loss, man, by the first real opponent you play. Kind of just to me shows you're not top 25 caliber.
Yep.
Which then again, right in front of them, you got Notre Dame at 1-2. So,
Yep.
you know, Notre Dame got the win, so I guess that is going to keep them. They were going to keep them ranked at or 0-2. They're going to keep them ranked at 1-2. So,
They got
um,
a win. They got a win, and they moved up.
yeah, 2 spots actually. So they moved up 2 spots. Notre
Yeah.
Dame, the team that gets probably, I guess, is going to get the most grace out of anybody. Alabama
Yeah.
went down 3 spots for having a bye week. So Notre Dame would have somehow went up 3.
Say, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think you could put Miami at number one.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I know Ohio State, and I think the reason why Ohio State's number one is because of the win over Texas. So, I mean,
It is.
it is what it is, but I think you can make a strong case for Miami to be number
Yeah.
one. I really do.
I agree, man. And what it is, I mean, like I said, Texas is still, what are they, 10th? Um, yeah, so I mean, you're technically still got Ohio State with a win on top 10 ranked team. You know, Florida doesn't look as good right now on a win with Miami, but
Right.
Miami Miami beat Notre Dame, so I mean that's got to count for something, right? To them. So
Still a ranked opponent.
yeah, I think Ohio State. You know how it is with Ohio State though too. That they I mean they're last year's champion. They do tend to treat them pretty well. And they had their big game already, so they'll play another team late in the season, you know, but I'm sure
Yeah.
how it goes. Last couple games of the season, but get ready for playoffs. No, I can see that, man. I do think Ohio State, you know, I like to hate on them, but you know, I do think they're a top team, and Miami's right there. You know, I don't think there's any true big standouts right
That's
now
true.
in the AP. And man, I still think Tennessee's a top 10 team, but and like I said, time will tell. And we're going to see some mix-ups coming up soon. Friday's episode, we'll have some big games talking about or to
Yep.
talk about coming into the weekend, man. This will be a pretty fun week 5 that'll be coming up. You know,
Oh
everybody
yeah.
that does watch this, you know, make sure to like and subscribe. You know, we post on Tuesdays and Fridays. So if you're interested in seeing what we got to say before the weekend and after the weekend, we'll talk about it. Just make sure to like and subscribe on that. Adam, man, do you have anything else really you want to add?
No, man, I think you know, we're moving out of week 4 now. You know, we're gonna start focusing on week 5 coming up here on the Friday show.
Yeah.
We're gonna start getting into the thick of this thing, man. This is when teams start playing their good opponents. You got a lot of conference play coming up. This AP poll that we just got finished talking about is going to start shifting like crazy because there are
Yep.
opponents on it that will play each other. So it's going to start getting real, real interesting. We're going to start seeing a lot of good football.
Oh yeah, man. Be able to amp up the talk and you know, we're really getting into the nitty gritty of the season where you start figuring out who's really good, who's not. But no, man, as always, dude, it's been a good episode, man. It's been fun.
Yep.
Until the next one, dude. Adam, I'll see you, man.
All right, brother. Take care, man.